it overwintered perfectly fine. These are the soil blocks of the tomatoes. They're doing pretty good as well. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here, I'm Catherine, the Aerogarden homesteader, and today is a garden update. I planted a few more tomato seeds because I had some spots where they just didn't come up. So my germination rate was actually pretty good, but I wanted to make sure I had enough tomatoes. So I started a few more. These are the ones I moved all of the little seedlings into 2 gardens. This one is just for the Romas that I had left over after up-potting a whole bunch of them. I actually need to get this cleaned, it's gross. And then down here, these ones are what is left of the Rio Grande. I do have some, I'm not sure that one's going to make it. And I got one back here that is trying, but again, I'm not sure it's going to make it. But for the most part, they are looking really good. I am starting to get my first set of true leaves. I think when they start putting out their second set of true leaves, I'm going to up-pot them. So they probably still have like about a week to go, but everything is looking really good. Everything else has been moved up to pots, and this is literally all that's left down here in the grow room for, you know, the Aerogardens. I have the Aerogardens going upstairs, but in the meantime, I think what I need to do after I get everything cleaned up is sort of space them back out, because I did actually create some space. I got this shelf down here and the one above it, and I want to go through, so these are my garden seeds, but I do have a thing with just my Aerogarden seeds. I want to go through and start setting up for my sort of summer garden, you know, for the greens and stuff. Now I need to check timings and all that, because we do normally take a week off, you know, at the end of the school year to go and visit, you know, family. So I want to make sure I don't have any active Aerogardens going that can't sort of truck along without me. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So the celery is still doing pretty good. I have been harvesting a little bit of it, but not a ton. I am getting a little bit of browning down here in the crotches, and I'm not sure why. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it is a food issue or not. They are a little hollow, but they're not horribly hollow. So I get the feeling that celery just doesn't do that well indoors in the hydroponic system. So, you know, it is what it is. Now over here, I think maybe another few days and I'll be able to up-pot these. So I am starting to get second sets of leaves. I also did put in a couple of tomatoes. These are beefsteak and these are like a yellow slicer. So far I planted 2 seeds and I got 1 of each variety coming up. I need to decide if I need more than that. I don't know that I do. We don't eat these a ton, but you know, sometimes it's good to just mix in a different variety in your sauces just for different flavors. We do occasionally like slicing tomatoes, so it's good to have something. And then I did finally get around to putting in my beans, and I covered up some of the wools with the covers. I just put them on upside down, and it was just to prevent that one got out of hand, but it was just to prevent a little bit of the initial molding and algae covering that happens. But I mean, they did really well. So these are supposed to, I think they're bush. So we will see that they are just, I mean, I see them growing daily. It's just insane. But everything is due to get a feed today. I am going to feed these as well. I don't normally feed like seedlings when they just pop up, but some of them have more than just popped up, so I think it's worth giving them a light feed, or maybe even just a regular feed. But yeah, that's what's going on inside, and I will show you all the seedlings outside, as well as I would like to show you how the garden is doing. And here are the up-potted seedlings that came out of the Aerogardens. Some of these I did start in pots, but my goodness, they look amazing. So definitely feed them early, or start them in the Aerogarden. I mean, all of the peppers are Aerogardens, and they look beautiful. These are the best peppers I have had in a long time. These are the soil blocks of the tomatoes. They're doing pretty good as well. I do wonder if I'm going to have to up-pot those soon, but I'm going to let them go a little bit longer. But everything just looks so good. I do turn my racks part of the way through the day, just so that everything kind of gets equal sun. The rack is really hard to get in and out of the house, but you know, I'm sort of willing to tough it up and deal with it, or tough it out and deal with it. We did start, so these are peas. I did only fill half the soil blocker with soil, so they aren't quite as tall as they could be. It just seemed like such a waste of soil. And then these are some flowers. My daughter wanted to start some flowers, and I'm okay with that, so we got some flowers going. And then just more plants everywhere. So I started 3 trays of peas. I think I started 3 different kinds, or did I just start? No, I did green arrow and something else. So yeah, and then just for shits and giggles, I did do some of my old onion seeds just to see if they would germinate or not. They were last year's seeds, and you know, if they don't germinate, they don't germinate, but you know, if they do, they do. They're a bonus. Not like I have good success with onions, but okay, well that's that, and I will show you the garden. And here are the raised beds. So this was my lemon balm. It is starting to come back, but I noticed the ones that were closer to the edge, they don't look as good as the ones that were kind of a little more in. And it does look like some of my chamomile managed to survive overwintering just as little sprouts. So they are starting to get bigger. The catmint is starting to come back. I am going to have to prune off some of this dead stuff. And again, I'm not sure how well the ones on the edge are doing, but I do see a little bit of growth, so that looks promising. And some of these little sprouts down here might actually be seeds that fell from the little flowers on the catmint. So it might have self-seeded and it's coming back, and I definitely see some chamomile in there as well. And that's fine. The sage is doing really well, although it kind of doesn't have any bottom leaves. I don't know if that's something I need to prune back or what. This one, I need to clean it out. I don't know, so that looks like mint. Wow, the mint, it started way over here, managed to get all the way to the other side. I'm kind of impressed. And then this was the calendula, so I need to kind of clear it out. There are some, not where, let's see if I can find some. So there are some that have some seeds in it. Not that one was not a good one. I went through and picked some, but see, this one's got a seed in it. So they are dropping seeds, so it might self-seed and come back. See, this one's got a bunch of seeds in it as well. I did leave some of the flower heads on so it could do that. The mint is coming back, so we got some mint. It's really kind of going to take over this. This is why I didn't want to put mint in the ground. It's just really going to take over here. But, I mean, I'm okay with that to a point. I can always just hack it back. Over here, this had parsley in it, which didn't do well because it was higher up off the ground, so it probably had more of a chance to freeze. This was like Thai basil, regular basil. It did go to seed, so it might be possible that it will drop some seeds and self-seed, but I don't know how well that will work. My daughter wanted to plant some flowers, so we went and planted some flowers. You saw them, they were up in the little cells there. But this is the thyme. Looks like it did pretty good. I actually should pick some and dry it because I like it in soup. So, and then this last bed had the marigolds in it and the California poppies. I took those out. I started cleaning them up because I thought that maybe she might want to plant some seeds for herself, which she did. And so I'm going to give her this bed just for her to plant it however she wants and just sort of have fun with it. So, and then those are the poor marigolds I ripped out of the ground. But yeah, so we got, this is a pretty bad little raised, well, not really raised, but this is a little flower area that's kind of separated from the lawn that we have been trying to keep grass free and have failed miserably at it. But the flowers in here keep self-seeding and coming back, so you know, it's kind of hard to fight nature. We've got some, this one's coming back every year. I don't know what kind it is, but it's got like a puffy flower on it. So, but yeah, that's that. I'll show you the rest of the garden. And finally, the outdoor garden. I wanted to show you how things were doing. My garlic has been doing really well. I don't know if you can see it through the mesh, but it has been doing really well. And some of the seeds that I actually winter sowed in the garden appear to be coming up. I'm actually kind of impressed because I have not been able to keep this well watered. Here, let me show you. So the ground is super dry and it's just dry. We have not had nearly enough precipitation, and I'm actually really pissed about this, but our irrigation came on a couple days ago, and I would have planned my garden so much differently if I had known that I would have had irrigation this early. I would have had like broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage and all that pre-sprouted and ready to go. And I think these are some of the cabbage and broccoli that I planted along here, but I'm not 100% sure. Even my, I don't know if you can see this, my parsley is growing insane. Here, let me see, pop it under. Look at that, it overwintered perfectly fine. So I'm like seriously impressed. But anyways, this is going to be my tomato bed. The one over there, I'm going to try corn in it because we got the hoop around it. We can put mesh around it and try to protect it. I don't know if it'll protect it from the big animals, but it'll protect it from bugs. And then our trees have budded like crazy. So this is cherry, and when you get the clusters like this, this is a cherry. So that's gonna be a flower, and then it'll be turned into a cherry. So that's pretty cool. So our trees have been doing really well. We did prune them back. So this is our apple. I think this is a cluster as well. So that'll be a cluster of apples, which technically you're supposed to pick all the ones around the outside and leave the king apple in the middle. And then this is I planted some lavender a while back, and it's kind of doing okay. So we step on it all the time because it's just in the way, but we are planning on moving it to somewhere more permanent, but we'll see if that happens. Oh, that smells good. And then this is our pear. Our pear is looking pretty good. We got some sprouts on it just starting to peek through. So I think that the pointy sprouts are what is going to become a branch, and the more rounded sprouts are what will become pears. I don't see any rounded sprouts to show you. Oh, here. Like this one, I think this one was a more rounded one. So I think that one will become a pear. That's my understanding of how it works. And then this one's a pear as well. We've got more cherries, and we've just got a little bit of everything. So, but yeah, the garden is doing pretty good. Strawberries they wintered well. They always do seem to winter well. We just haven't had a harsh winter that, you know, mostly we get harsh summers here. We just don't get any precipitation, and we get like those heat domes. We're expecting a heat dome this year, so I'm kind of a little concerned about how the garden is going to do this year, but I have irrigation. I am actually going to get the chicken watering system back set up, get the water back on, and at least get this part of the garden watered, because in some of these raised pots, so I think in these two I put some carrots, and then I put some carrots over here. These are some spring onions I put in a pot like years ago, and I don't eat them or harvest from them or anything, but they just keep coming back. And here is my chive. It keeps coming back. So I got round chive mixed in with like a flat leaf chive. So this one looks like it's struggling a little, but yeah. So, and then, yeah, the garlic. The garlic is doing really well. I'm actually impressed by it, because I was a little concerned when it started growing in the fall, and then it kind of died back. And then, yeah, so I think it's been a whole year since I planted it. Yeah, I think it's been, because then it grew last year, and then it just kind of died back and didn't grow, and then this year it's coming back. So some of them did divide, because I noticed there's two stalks coming out of sort of the same location. So vernalizing them in the fridge does work, but it didn't really work well. So I don't know if I would recommend it. And my elephant garlic did come up. That was the same, I planted that the same time last year, vernalized it in the fridge, planted it, didn't really grow, but it's coming up really nicely now. Here, I'll go over and show you. But yeah, so I'm kind of impressed with how the garden is doing. I do have lots of weeds. Here, let me see if I can figure out how to get in. Okay, here we go. So here's the elephant garlic. It's doing pretty good. But over there, that's a weed. So I do need to kind of go through and weed it, but I want to wait a little bit longer, because it's kind of a pain to take this netting off and then put it back on. Mostly this was to kind of keep some of the weed seeds from falling in the garden, and kind of keep the squirrels from digging in my garden. They are really annoying. But yeah, so that's how all of the stuff is doing. I hope you've been following along and joining along with me on this gardening journey this year. I will have some videos up at the end that you might enjoy, and I will see you next time on the Aerogarden Homestead.